it's my pleasure to welcome in right now Ross. What's going on, man?
Hey, brother, doing very well, man. I appreciate you having me on, and grateful to be here, man. And good to talk to you again. I feel like it's been a little minute.
Yeah. It's been about 24 hours, about 23 maybe, or 22 to be exact. I got to sit down with Ross yesterday. We did the Locked On Saints podcast that is already up because, of course, Locked On goes up daily, right, Ross, or around then?
Yeah, no, it's every Monday through Friday. I try to get every episode out the evening before so people have something for their morning commute or coming back home. Quick 25, 30-minute episodes each time, just something quickly digestible, give you the news and notes of the day, and then something else to ponder, some fun facts for your friends, all that good stuff as well.
Hell yeah, dude. So check out the episode we did. It's a ton of fun. And then, like I said, just go ahead and subscribe. And if you're a Saints fan, you have daily Saints content ready to roll for you. We did a little Saints tier list yesterday that was quite fun, where we had to make up a new tier. We made the F tier, which stands for FM. Can't say it fully on air here, but we put the 2014 through 2016 Saints secondary in the FM category, which I think makes a lot of sense. We had the Jarris Bird contract in the D. And if you want to hear the rest of it, go check out the show, and you can hear it. You can follow Ross at Ross Jackson Nola. All right, Ross, let's get into this Saints team. So here we sit, 5 games in, heading into a bye week. The NFC South looks like a madhouse. Everybody's 3-2, except for the Falcons, who have fired their head coach and are spiraling out of control. Now have positive COVID tests. Hate to see it with Atlanta. But okay, what are Ross? You're someone who talks about this team every single day. What are your main takeaways through 5 games? How do you evaluate this Saints team?
Yeah. So real quick before I dive into that, I just want to. I know Jordy's not there, but I just want to generally shout out a congratulations on the Parkview Alum Hall of Fame.
Wow,
that's
very
super dope.
Sweet. Very nice.
So I want to make sure that I do that. But yeah, man, when I look at this team through the first 5 games of the season, you're looking at an offense that's producing, right? That's averaging over 30 points per game. You're looking at an offense that is putting up yardage that's, they're just beyond the top half when it comes to passing yardage in the NFL, but you're seeing some of the efficiency issues without Michael Thomas in the lineup. And that's something that we also spoke about yesterday, just talking a little bit about how much not having Michael Thomas does actually affect this team. And we've seen them navigate it and work around it. And again, still put up 30 points per game without him. But there's just been something about the fluidity and efficiency of the offense that has been sort of lacking as you're watching them. You're not seeing the opening drive scripted play touchdowns that you're accustomed to seeing when it comes to New Orleans, which is something they sort of struggled with last year as well. You're not seeing you're seeing more of those 3 and outs. You're seeing less third down conversions every now and then, particularly at the beginnings of games. And so you're starting to see them have to claw their way out of a hole, having to come back from 14 down against the Lions, having to come back from 17 down against the Chargers. And luckily and thankfully they were able to do that. But you don't want to be put in that situation every single week, right? You want to be able to lead with your best foot forward on your offense. And right now, without Michael Thomas, the best foot forward has been Alvin Kamara, who right now leads the NFL in scrimmage yards.
Oh, I didn't realize.
He's up there at 676. He's tied for first right now in scrimmage touchdowns. He's up top right now for all-purpose yards, and he's number 2 in the NFL as a running back in receptions at 38, behind only DeAndre Hopkins, I believe. So You're seeing some incredible production out of him with Michael Thomas out, and then eventually Michael Thomas comes back, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more as we look ahead, but eventually this is going to become a very tough offense, or I guess improve as an offense and become tougher for opposing defenses to get in the way of.
I knew Kamara had been good. I guess I never really dove into the numbers quite yet. I didn't realize he'd been that good. I now see why they were talking about him yesterday, I think on Get Up, as like maybe, if a non-quarterback were to win MVP, that he should be at the top of that list. And look, I definitely forgot just how good a fully healthy Alvin Kamara could be. So, yeah, I'm excited about Thomas's return and them kind of freeing each other up. But what about Mike Thomas, right? Because it's been an interesting news cycle for him. I feel like I've never heard anything negative about Thomas as a teammate. And then there's the Jeff Duncan article in The Athletic from the other day where they're talking about how there's been a little friction lately, maybe with some staffers, maybe with Coach Payton. Thomas definitely is known for having that. I think The Last Dance really kind of showed us into MJ's mindset. I know that Thomas operates in a very similar manner. So, like, just fitting back into this team after the suspension, how do you feel about Mike Thomas and where he stands currently?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like the moment that he gets back with the team, the quicker he gets back with the team, the better off this situation becomes. I do truly believe that a large part of the tension that perhaps he's holding, or any of the issues that you're starting to see, arise from his frustration of not being able to be out on the football field. We talk about him being a fierce competitor. Imagine holding, imagine trying to hold Michael Jordan off of the court when he feels like he's ready for a quarter of your team's game, right?
Yeah.
So you have to sort of put it in that in that sort of construct in terms of what it is that he's dealing with as well, and the frustration that he has. Anytime that you're doing something that's alienating or that's causing issues within an organization, it needs to be handled, and that's what the Saints did. They benched him for this game. They gave him a fine. They were careful to not sort of like officially suspend him, although, we call it a suspension, but it was, an unofficial sort of, we're just benching him because they don't want to mess with his money in terms of what's guaranteed and contract and things like that, because then that could create some additional issues. So you're seeing sort of the sensitivity of this situation in the way that it's being handled, but you're seeing it be handled immediately, as opposed to some of the other maybe comparisons that might be out there where teams weren't willing to handle it because, oh, well, that's our best guy. If we take him off the field, we lose games. For the Saints, that hasn't been the case. They've been able to find ways to win. And that's not to say that Michael Thomas is all indispensable, but it does say that they will choose culture over on-field presence at any point. And I think that is a good, positive thing. We always talk about the Saints culture being a very positive thing for them and being one of the best cultures in the NFL. This just further proves that. And I think that once he's able to get back out on the field and gets back to doing what he wants to do and having that competitive edge against the players across from him from another team in another uniform, this all sort of disappears.
Yeah, that's a great
That's
point.
my estimation.
Also, and I know that I feel outside of the chemistry, just an on the field impact, I think he makes the Saints offense look like the offense that you've come to know and love over the last few years. Yeah, ballsy move by Peyton benching him, but it worked out in the end. Finally, Ross, defensively, it has been up and down, with maybe more down thus far. Definitely the expectations seem at odds with what we have seen thus far on that side of the ball. How do you think they get it fixed? Like, where does the defense go from here with a bye week and a kind of reset time before this season begins anew?
Yeah, I mean, the good news about not being great right now is that there's not really much worse you can do. and that's not to say that, they're going to get any worse, but I'm saying that, it's easier for them to use this bye week as well as the practice week heading up to the Panthers to find ways to fix different things. I mean, you've seen them struggle in red zone defense. 17 out of 20 red zone possessions for that defense have been converted into touchdowns. I saw a stat the other day.
17 of 20 for touchdowns, not even just scoring.
Right. And so you look at the within 10 yards of the end zone. I saw a stat yesterday that I believe it was that quarterbacks were 10 of 13 in that within 10 yards, and I believe it was 10 touchdowns on top of that, or some ridiculous amount of touchdowns on top of that. So you're seeing a lot of production within the red zone. That's something that needs to get fixed. You saw the penalties kind of tighten up against the Los Angeles Chargers, which is good. Well, at least they migrated, right? They went from the defensive side to special teams. So in the defensive conversation, you've seen that tighten up, but you want to continue to see that. The biggest other additional part of all of that is lapses in coverage on the back end. That has been something that's been a huge issue for them, whether it's eye discipline, whether it's passing receivers from zone to zone, or executing the matching scheme to where you have two corners or two defensive backs that are lined up. One is supposed to take the inside breaking route. The other is supposed to take the outside breaking route. Confusion with things like that, some cover one double type scenarios. And so I think all of those things, they have time now to clean up. And it just comes down to the coaching now to clean all of that up. And I think that that's what you're going to see them really focus on. This is an offense that's that's scoring over 30 points per game, but the defense isn't giving up much less than that. I think that they were almost square even by the time that they got to the Los Angeles Chargers game in terms of points for and points against. So those are the things that certainly need to be cleaned up for them in order to see success for the rest of the season. But I do think that this is a prime opportunity for them to do that with the time that they have.
There you go, Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, the host of the Locked On Saints podcast. Check him out online. Follow him on Twitter. Listen to the pod. It's 5 days a week. Saints talk. It's the best. Like he said, easily digestible, morning drive, whatever. He's got your back. Ross, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, y'all. Stay safe. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Hoorah! All right, when we get back, closing out OTBOT next.
OTBOT.